In the overwhelming noise of life, it's easy to get swept away. The world moves at a frenetic pace. Tasks, deadlines, and distractions all demand our attention, constantly pulling us in every direction. From the moment we wake up, we are bombarded with a never-ending list of to-dos, obligations, and expectations. Yet, in the midst of all this noise, there comes a moment, a divine pause, where heaven invites us to stop, to listen, to reflect. This moment is not just another fleeting break in the chaos of life. It is sacred. A divine intervention that calls you to pause, not out of frustration or exhaustion, but out of purpose. It's a moment where everything around you falls away, and you are invited to focus on the question that has the power to shift the course of your life. The question Jesus is asking right now is simple, yet profound. Do you truly love me? This question goes beyond the surface. It goes deeper than simple belief or faith practices. It cuts to the heart of who you are and challenges the very foundation of your relationship with Jesus. It is not just a question asked by a man, nor a question aimed at your intellect or emotions. It is a divine question asked by the Savior of the world, with the power to change your life permanently. The answer you give is not one that simply echoes through the air. It will reverberate through the deepest parts of your soul and have the power to transform your entire life. As you pause in this moment, let this question sink deeply into your spirit. Do you truly love me? It's a question that demands introspection, reflection, and a realignment of your heart. Jesus is not merely seeking a response. He is offering an invitation, a divine call to examine your love for him. This is not just about the words you speak or the actions you perform. This is about the authenticity of your love. And that love, when genuine, will change everything. It has the power to shift your purpose, your calling, and your life forever. You may feel a certain unease, a restlessness within you as you contemplate this question. It's not just a fleeting thought or a passing feeling. There is something stirring within you, something deep inside your spirit that is drawing your attention, urging you to reflect more deeply. Perhaps there has been a nagging feeling of confusion or uncertainty, a sense of longing that you can't fully explain. This is not random. It's not coincidence. It is a divine shifting, a signal that heaven is actively at work in your life. The restlessness in your heart is a sign that God is moving in ways you may not fully understand yet. It is a divine invitation to reflect on your heart's alignment with His will. We often mistake discomfort or restlessness for confusion or uncertainty. But in reality, these feelings are God's way of signaling a deeper work, one that is unfolding beneath the surface, in ways we cannot yet see. The unease you feel is not chaos. It is divine orchestration. The things that seem to be unsettled in your life are actually part of heaven's plan to realign you with your true purpose. Heaven is not passive in your journey. It is not distant. It is present, working in the unseen, shaping your destiny. Every struggle, every delay, every moment of confusion has been part of God's grand design to bring you to this very moment. What may seem like disorder or distraction is, in fact, heaven moving, repositioning you for something greater. This is a divine intersection. You are standing at a crossroads where what was and what is to come meet. This is not just a random point in your journey. This is a divinely orchestrated moment in time. Heaven is aligning the pieces of your life in ways you might not understand right now. But make no mistake, you are being positioned for a new season. God is actively at work in this pause. This is not a time to rush through or push away. This is a sacred moment to sit, to listen, and to trust that God is leading you into the next phase of your life. It's natural to resist the idea of stillness in our fast-paced world. We are constantly taught that to move forward means to keep going, to never stop, to always be doing something. Yet, in the kingdom of God, stillness is not idleness. It is a profound act of faith. This pause is not an interruption in your life. It is part of God's divine preparation. God is not idly waiting, nor is he asking you to simply stand still without purpose. This is a moment where he is working behind the scenes, quietly, powerfully, shaping your heart and your future. The divine pause is a moment where heaven clears away the distractions and invites you to focus on what truly matters. It is the space where God is realigning your heart, refreshing your spirit, and recalibrating your desires. The stillness is not an indication of inactivity. It is the preparation for what is to come. Just as a farmer tills the soil, plants the seed, and patiently waits for it to grow, God is working in the unseen, preparing the ground of your heart to receive the harvest that is coming. In this pause, God is making sure that everything is in place for the next phase of your life. The divine timing is at work. What seems like inactivity is actually the most sacred and active preparation. You may not see the change in front of you, but trust that heaven is moving. Heaven's work is taking place. And this pause is the space where God prepares you for the divine revelation, direction, and breakthrough that are on the horizon. In a world that pushes us to keep moving forward at all costs, it is difficult to trust in moments of stillness. We often feel that if we are not doing something, we are falling behind. But in this divine pause, God is reminding you that His timing is perfect. Even though you may not see movement right now, trust that heaven is at work, orchestrating every detail of your life with precision. Trust in the silence, for it is in this quiet moment that God's plans are being unveiled. He is preparing you for something far greater than you could have imagined. The waiting may seem long, and the stillness may feel uncomfortable, but know this: God is shaping you, realigning your heart, and positioning you for what is to come. The answers you seek will come in their perfect time. The doors you have been waiting for will open at the exact moment God has determined. His timing is always perfect, even when it feels delayed. You are not being forgotten. You are not being ignored. You are being prepared. And this preparation is essential for your next steps. The pause you're experiencing is not a sign of delay. It is God's way of aligning your life with His perfect plan. Trust the process. Trust the timing. Trust that in this moment, even when things seem still, heaven is actively moving you into alignment with your divine purpose. This pause is not a time to feel lost or aimless. It is a time of divine recalibration. The moments you spend in stillness are not wasted. They are sacred. Allow God to work in the silence. Allow Him to work in the stillness of your heart. This is not a time of interruption. It is the preparation for the divine breakthrough that is about to unfold. As you sit in this moment of divine pause, remember that heaven is not silent, it is preparing you. This is a sacred season of realignment, a time where God is setting the stage for something far greater than you can imagine. Trust in the stillness. Trust that God's timing is perfect, even when you cannot see the movement happening behind the scenes. The pause is not a sign of inactivity, it is the divine preparation for what is to come. You are at a divine intersection, and heaven is guiding you into the next phase of your life. What may have seemed like chaos is actually heaven's work. The restlessness in your spirit is not something to fear. It is a sign that God is positioning you for the greater purpose He has for you. This divine pause is not an interruption. It is divine preparation. Trust it, embrace it, and prepare for the transformation that is about to unfold. When Jesus asks, "Do you truly love me?" He is not merely asking for a surface-level response. This question carries with it a profound depth, one that transcends all superficial understanding of love. It isn't a question meant to pass the time or simply prompt an emotional response. It's a question that challenges the very foundation of our relationship with God. It calls into account the authenticity of our devotion, the sincerity of our faith, and the depth of our love for Him. This question, "Do you truly love me?" is not simply about having the right words or following certain religious practices. It goes beyond the rituals and the external acts of faith that we often cling to. It reaches into the depths of our hearts, questioning whether we love God for who He is, not just for what He can do for us. Jesus is asking whether our love for Him is genuine, whether it is rooted in a deep, intimate relationship with Him, or whether it is based on the blessings He gives and the comfort He provides. To truly love Jesus means that our love for Him goes beyond the transient, the conditional, or the emotional. It is a love that is unwavering, consistent, and committed no matter the circumstances, no matter the struggles, and no matter the trials we may face. Jesus is inviting us to go beyond the superficial expressions of faith, to move into the realm of authentic, deep love, a love that is rooted in trust, obedience, and unwavering devotion. This divine question calls us to examine the nature of our love for God. It forces us to look beyond the surface and ask ourselves, what is the quality of my love for Jesus? Is it genuine? Is it self-sacrificial? Is it an authentic love that is shown through my actions, my choices, and my willingness to follow Him, even when the road ahead is difficult? Or is it a love that only exists when things are going well, when prayers are answered, and when life is comfortable? Jesus calls us to a higher standard of love, a love that transcends the easy, convenient moments and goes deep into the hard, testing times of life. This question calls us to reflect on whether we are truly devoted to Jesus, not just in moments of joy and blessing, but also in times of trial and challenge. Do you truly love me? This is the heart of the question, a challenge to examine the depth and authenticity of our love for Christ. Jesus' question, "Do you truly love me?" is an invitation to move beyond routine faith, to step into a personal, intimate relationship with Him. Love for Jesus, at its core, is not about merely following rules or performing duties. It is about knowing Him deeply, experiencing His love intimately, and choosing to walk with Him in a way that transforms every aspect of our lives. This call to intimacy is about moving from a distant, transactional relationship with God, where we seek His blessings and His help, to a deep, personal connection with Him, where we seek His presence and His guidance. Jesus is asking us to move from routine and ritual into a dynamic, passionate relationship where we love Him not just for what He can give us, but for who He is, the Savior, the Redeemer, the one who holds our lives in His hands. Love, in its truest form, requires intimacy. It requires getting close enough to truly know and understand someone. It's not enough to know facts about Jesus. We must know Him intimately, personally, and deeply. Love for Jesus is about being in constant communion with Him, about allowing His presence to shape our thoughts, our decisions, and our actions. It is about allowing our hearts to be intertwined with His, seeking Him not just for what He can provide, but for His guidance, His wisdom, and His will for our lives. This call to intimacy with Jesus is not a call to a distant, formal relationship. It is a call to know Him as a friend, a Savior, and a constant companion. Jesus wants to walk with us, to speak with us, to lead us, and to shape us. But in order to experience that kind of intimacy, we must be willing to open our hearts to Him, to trust Him completely, and to surrender ourselves fully to His love and His purpose. Jesus is inviting you into a deeper relationship with Him. A relationship that is not just about what you can get, but about who you can become. When we love Jesus deeply, it transforms us. It changes our desires, our actions, and our purpose in life. The call to intimacy is a call to become more like Jesus, to live out His love in the world, and to let that love overflow into every aspect of our lives. The weight of the question, "Do you truly love me?" is not just a momentary consideration. It is a sacred question that holds the power to transform your life. It requires more than a simple yes or no. It requires deep reflection on your heart's devotion to Jesus, and it forces you to consider the depth of your love for Him. This question is sacred because it challenges you to examine your own commitment, your willingness to follow Jesus no matter the circumstances, and the authenticity of your relationship with Him. The weight of this question carries with it the potential for transformation. When we are asked by Jesus, "Do you truly love me?" we are invited to step into a deeper relationship with Him. This question asks us to examine whether we are willing to follow Jesus wholeheartedly, without reservation, without hesitation, and without turning back. It is a question that demands action. It calls us to look at our lives, our relationships, and our priorities, and to ask ourselves if they reflect the love we claim to have for Jesus. When we truly love someone, it is shown in our actions, in our choices, and in our willingness to serve and sacrifice for them. The weight of this question asks us whether our love for Jesus is genuine, sacrificial, and reflected in how we live. It calls us to a higher level of commitment, one that goes beyond words or feelings, and leads us into a life of obedience, service, and trust in God's will. This is not just a question of devotion in the abstract. It is a question that challenges the very foundation of our faith. It is a call to align our lives with God's purpose, to examine where we may have fallen short, and to commit ourselves fully to the divine calling He has placed on our lives. Jesus is asking us to demonstrate our love through our actions, through our obedience, and through our willingness to follow Him. Even when the road is difficult, even when the path is unclear, at the heart of love is surrender. Love requires a willingness to lay down our own will, our own desires, and our own understanding in order to follow the one we love. This is the essence of Jesus' question, "Do you truly love me?" It's an invitation to surrender our lives to Him, to trust Him fully, and to follow Him no matter what. To love Jesus means to surrender our plans, our desires, and our ambitions. It means trusting that God knows what is best for us, even when the journey is uncertain, when the road is difficult, and when our own desires conflict with His will. True love for Jesus requires us to surrender not just our actions but our hearts. It requires us to let go of our control and fully trust that God's plan for our lives is greater than anything we could have planned for ourselves. Surrendering to Jesus is not a one-time decision. It is a continual choice. Every day, we are invited to lay down our will and choose His. Every day, we are invited to say yes to Jesus' call, to trust in His timing, and to follow Him wherever He leads. This surrender is not a sign of weakness, it is a sign of deep love and trust. It is the love that Jesus calls us to, a love that says, "I will follow you, no matter where you lead, no matter what the cost." Jesus' question, "Do you truly love me?" is a call to surrender of our hearts, our desires, and our will. It is an invitation to trust God fully, to let go of our control, and to follow Jesus with all of our hearts. Love requires surrender, and when we surrender our lives to Jesus, we allow Him to shape us, to refine us, and to lead us into the fullness of the purpose He has for us. Jesus' question, "Do you truly love me?" is not just a question of surface-level belief. It is an invitation to a deeper, more authentic relationship with Him. It calls us to examine the depth of our love, to reflect on whether our actions align with our devotion, and to consider if we are truly willing to surrender our hearts and lives to His will. This divine question invites us into a relationship of intimacy, obedience, and trust. It calls us to move from a routine faith to a living, breathing love that transforms every part of our lives. It challenges us to demonstrate our love not just with words, but with actions, choices, and sacrifices. Love requires surrender. And in surrendering to Jesus, we find the fullness of the life He has designed for us. As you reflect on this question, do you truly love me? Take the time to ask yourself how deep your love for Jesus truly is. Are you willing to follow Him, even when it's difficult? Are you ready to surrender your plans and desires to align with His will? This question holds the power to transform your life, to align your heart with God's purpose, and to draw you into a deeper, more intimate relationship with Jesus. Let this be the moment where you say, yes, a yes, that reflects your deepest love, your truest devotion, and your complete surrender to God's perfect will. In the intricate tapestry of life, we often find ourselves caught in moments where time seems to stand still, where events unfold in ways we didn't expect, and the path ahead is unclear. We might wonder why things aren't happening the way we envisioned, or why, despite our efforts, the results aren't aligning with our desires. And in those moments of confusion, doubt can set in. But what if I told you that, even in those still moments, heaven is at work, that every delay, heartbreak, and rejection you've experienced has been preparing you for this very moment? Jesus is orchestrating a divine intervention in your life right now. It's not by accident that you are where you are at this very moment. Every single moment in your life, both the joyful and painful, has been leading you to this intersection of destiny, where you are poised for a divine realignment. Heaven's timing, though it may not always seem immediate or intuitive, is always perfect. It is intricately woven into the fabric of your life, shaping you for something greater. You might have walked through seasons of waiting, seasons where things didn't seem to move the way you hoped, where prayers felt unanswered, and where you were left questioning why the door was not opening. But know this, the delays you have encountered were not a sign that God was withholding from you. They were part of His divine timing. You may not have understood it at the time, but every no was a redirection. Every wait was a preparation for something better. And every heartbreak was a step toward a more profound alignment with God's will for your life. Heaven is not bound by time in the way we are. God sees the full picture of your life, the beginning, the middle, and the end. He sees the path that leads to your highest good, the path that aligns you with the divine purpose He has destined for you. It is in His perfect timing that He orchestrates your steps, aligns your experiences, and positions you for the breakthrough that is coming. You are not waiting in vain. The moment of intervention is unfolding right now, and you are stepping into alignment with God's perfect plan. Every moment of struggle, every feeling of inadequacy, every moment where you question God's timing has been part of the divine preparation. Heaven has been at work in the unseen, shaping your heart, refining your spirit, and aligning the pieces of your life. You may not see it, but God is positioning you for a breakthrough. You are being prepared for a divine purpose that will unfold in ways you can't yet understand, but trust that His timing is always right. Now, in this moment, heaven is aligning everything for the fulfillment of your purpose. There is a temptation, when faced with challenges or delays, to see them as obstacles or signs of failure. We tend to view rejection, pain, and setbacks as punishments, as though life is working against us. But what if, instead of seeing these experiences as setbacks, we viewed them as divine redirection? What if the pain, the heartbreak, and the struggles were not punishment but part of God's perfect plan to move us towards something far better? The truth is, God does not cause pain or hardship for the sake of suffering. He allows it because He knows it will lead to something greater. What you might have once viewed as failure is actually God's way of recalibrating your heart and aligning you with His will. Sometimes, the path we think we should be on isn't the one that will take us to our true purpose. And when we stubbornly cling to our own plans, God lovingly redirects us, sometimes through hardship, to lead us to a path that is far more fruitful. God's purpose for your life is far more magnificent than you can imagine. The pain, the rejection, the seasons of waiting, they have been God's tools, not for your destruction but for your preparation. These moments are not signs of abandonment. They are signs that God is moving you into a position where you will step into your divine calling with a heart that is fully prepared, fully aligned, and ready to fulfill His purpose. Consider how a sculptor shapes a block of marble. Every chip and every strike of the chisel removes something unnecessary, something that doesn't belong, revealing the beautiful masterpiece hidden within. God is that master sculptor. The challenges and struggles you've faced were not in vain. They were part of His process to remove the rough edges in your life, to refine your character, and to align you with the masterpiece He is creating through your life. It is in these moments of difficulty that you can find reassurance. Every moment of pain is redirection. Every closed door is God's perfect plan to move you into the place where you will fully step into His will for your life. Trust in the process. Trust that God is working all things together for your good. He sees the full picture, and He is guiding you to a place of divine purpose. You are not a victim of your circumstances. You are a participant in God's plan, being shaped for something magnificent. The struggle is part of the journey, and the hardship is part of the transformation. One of the most challenging aspects of divine intervention is learning to embrace the silence. In a world that is constantly bombarded with noise, where the pace of life never slows down, it can be difficult to sit in silence. We often feel that if we are not actively doing something, we are missing out, or worse, failing. But silence is not inactivity. It is a space where God does His most profound work. When God moves in silence, He is often preparing us in ways that we cannot see. Think of a seed planted in the ground. For a time, it seems like nothing is happening. The seed is buried in the dark, hidden from view, and nothing seems to grow. Yet beneath the surface, the seed is germinating, its roots taking hold, preparing for the day when it will sprout and break through the soil. It is in that hidden moment of growth that the seed is being shaped, strengthened, and prepared to thrive. So it is with God's work in your life. You may feel as though nothing is happening, as though the answers to your prayers are delayed or unanswered. But in reality, God is working in the unseen. Trusting God's timing means learning to embrace the silence. It means believing that even when you cannot see the changes, they are happening. You are being prepared for the moment when God will reveal the next phase of your journey. In this time of stillness, heaven is positioning you, aligning the pieces of your life, and shaping you for the calling that awaits. It is easy to feel discouraged in moments of waiting, but God does His most powerful work in the moments when we are still, when we cannot see the outcome, and when we must trust Him completely. The silence is not an absence of God, it is a preparation for His perfect timing. God is never absent in your life. He is always working, even when you cannot feel Him. This season of waiting, this season of silence, is not a sign that you are forgotten. It is the very space where God is aligning you for your breakthrough. If you are experiencing moments of stillness, if it feels as though nothing is happening in your life or your prayers seem unanswered, it's important to remember that you are not being ignored. God has not forgotten you. It is in these moments of quiet that God is doing some of His deepest work. The silence you may be experiencing is a sign of preparation, not abandonment. God is not ignoring your needs or your desires. He is preparing you for the perfect timing to step into the next chapter of your life. Every moment of stillness, every season of waiting, is God's way of working in the unseen to align you with His will. Trust that God is shaping you, refining you, and preparing you for the fulfillment of your calling. This is not a time of punishment or rejection, it is a time of divine alignment, where heaven is preparing you for the purpose that is about to unfold. When you feel like nothing is happening, remember that God is still at work. Just because you don't see it doesn't mean it's not happening. God is not a distant observer. He is a present, active participant in your life. He sees the end from the beginning, and He is aligning everything perfectly for your good. Trust that, in this time of waiting, He is preparing you for something greater, something beyond what you can see right now. If you feel as though you are in a season of silence, rest in the knowledge that God is working in the unseen, preparing you for the breakthrough that is just ahead. You are not being ignored, you are being prepared. The divine intervention happening in your life is unfolding in ways that you cannot yet see, but trust that God is at work. In this moment of divine intervention, trust that heaven is actively at work in your life. God's timing is perfect, and every delay, rejection, and struggle has led to this moment of realignment. Trust that the struggles you have faced, the seasons of silence, and the feelings of frustration have been part of God's plan to prepare you for something greater. You are not being ignored. You are being shaped, refined, and positioned for your divine purpose. God is working behind the scenes, even when you cannot see it. He is positioning you for the next phase of your calling. Trust His timing, trust His plan, and embrace the silence as part of the preparation. You are not abandoned. You are being prepared for a divine breakthrough that will align you fully with God's will. The question that Jesus asks, "Do you truly love me?" is not a question of casual affection or an inquiry about surface-level emotions. It is a deep and penetrating question that calls for authenticity. It cuts through all the noise and distractions and demands an honest evaluation of the heart. Jesus is not asking you to love Him in the way the world loves, based on comfort, convenience, or fleeting emotions. He is calling you to love Him authentically, a love that is demonstrated in the way you live, the way you trust, and the way you obey, even when it costs you something. True love for God is not about how we feel in a moment, nor is it a mere display of affection in times of joy. It is a choice, a commitment that goes beyond temporary emotions. The love that Jesus calls us to is a love that is shown through obedience, a willingness to surrender our desires, and a trust in Him even when life doesn't go as planned. It's not the kind of love that disappears when the going gets tough. It is a love that endures. It is a love that says, "No matter the storm, I will stand by you. No matter the challenge, I will follow you." When Jesus asks, "Do you truly love me?" He is asking for more than just a verbal affirmation or an occasional expression of faith. He is asking for your heart, your full devotion. A love that is authentic is one that does not shrink back in the face of difficulty or hardship. It is easy to love God when things are going well, when prayers are answered quickly, and when life seems smooth. But true love for God is revealed in the moments when life gets hard, when answers are delayed, and when the road ahead seems uncertain. Love for God is not a passive emotion, it is an active, ongoing commitment. It is seen in the choices you make, the way you live, and your willingness to walk in obedience to His will, even when you don't understand why certain things are happening in your life. This question is calling you to examine the depth of your love for Jesus. Is your love for Him conditional on your circumstances, or is it rooted in the recognition of who He is? Is your devotion to Jesus rooted in what He can give you, or is it based on who He is, the Savior, the Redeemer, the King of Kings? To love God authentically is to love Him in good times and in bad, in joy and in sorrow. It is a love that endures, a love that trusts, and a love that is willing to follow Him wherever He leads. This divine test is asking you to evaluate your own heart and devotion. Is my love for God deep and sincere, or is it based on external circumstances and temporary feelings? To understand the depth and significance of Jesus' question, it's important to reflect on the story of Peter. Peter was one of Jesus' closest disciples, known for his passionate love for Jesus and his bold declarations of loyalty. He was the one who said, "Though all others may fall away, I will never leave you." Yet, in the most critical moment, when Jesus was arrested, Peter denied Him 3 times. In his fear, doubt, and confusion, Peter failed. Despite his earlier confidence, he abandoned Jesus when the pressure was too great. The Peter who had once declared unwavering loyalty now found himself unable to stand firm. It's easy to judge Peter for his failure. We might wonder, how could he do that? But the truth is, Peter's story is not unlike our own. We all have moments when we fail to live up to the love we profess. We all have moments of weakness when the circumstances overwhelm us, and we act in ways that betray our true intentions. The question is not whether we make mistakes or fail. The question is whether we are willing to acknowledge those failures and come back to Jesus with a repentant heart. Jesus' interaction with Peter shows us how God deals with our failure. He doesn't abandon us when we fall short. He doesn't cast us aside or reject us. He calls us back, and He uses our failures to refine us and reaffirm our calling. After His resurrection, Jesus met Peter on the shore, and He asked him 3 times, "Do you love me?" This threefold question mirrored the 3 times Peter had denied Him. In each question, Jesus gave Peter the opportunity to reaffirm his love and to restore his broken relationship. Jesus wasn't condemning Peter for his failure. He was offering Peter the chance for restoration. With each affirmation of love, Jesus reminded Peter of his calling, "Feed my sheep." Despite Peter's failure, Jesus still saw in him the potential to lead and to serve. Jesus used Peter's failure to bring him into a deeper understanding of grace and restoration. Jesus does not require perfection. He does not seek flawless devotion. What he seeks is a heart that is willing to follow him, even when we stumble, even when we fall short. Jesus knows that we are not perfect, but he also knows that when we are willing to come to him with humility, when we are willing to repent and turn back to him, he will restore us. Just like Peter, God offers us grace, and through that grace, he reaffirms our calling and purpose. The lesson in Peter's story is that failure does not disqualify us from God's love or calling. Jesus knew Peter's heart, and despite his failure, he knew that Peter had the capacity to fulfill the mission he had called him to. Peter's story is not a story of rejection. It is a story of redemption. And just as Jesus restored Peter, he is offering each of us the chance to be restored, no matter how many times we may have faltered. Jesus is asking you, just as he asked Peter, "Do you truly love me?" And just as Peter was restored, so too can you be restored. Jesus' question is not meant to condemn or guilt trip us. It is an invitation, a call to deeper intimacy, to a more genuine, heartfelt devotion. God does not desire surface-level affection. He desires a deep, intimate love that is demonstrated through obedience, trust, and surrender. True devotion to Jesus is not about being perfect or flawless in our actions. It is about being willing to give our hearts fully to him, to surrender our will to his, and to follow him, no matter the cost. Jesus doesn't want a relationship with us based on superficiality or routine. He desires intimacy. He longs for us to know him deeply, to love him wholeheartedly, and to walk with him daily. This love requires sacrifice. It requires obedience. It requires us to put him above everything else, even when it's hard, even when our desires and his plans don't align. When Jesus asks, "Do you truly love me?" he is calling you to examine the depth of your love and devotion. Is your love for him sincere? Is it demonstrated in your actions, your choices, and your willingness to follow him? Even when the road is difficult, God does not want your love to be shallow or conditional. He wants a love that is deep, authentic, and unshakable. A love that does not depend on circumstances or feelings, but is rooted in the truth of who he is. This divine test is an invitation to step into a deeper, more authentic relationship with Jesus. It is an invitation to love him for who he is, not just for what he can give us. It's a call to surrender, to let go of our own agendas, and to align ourselves with his will. Jesus wants a love that is demonstrated through obedience, faith, and a willingness to follow him wherever he leads. He is asking you to reflect on your love for him and to make the decision to step into a deeper, more intimate relationship with him. As you reflect on Jesus' question, take a moment to examine your own heart. Do you truly love me? Is your love for Jesus deep, authentic, and unwavering? Or is it conditional, based on circumstances or what he can do for you? Are you willing to follow him, even when the road is hard? Are you willing to trust him, even when the answers are delayed? This is a moment of deep introspection. It's an opportunity to evaluate the authenticity of your love for Jesus. Is your love real, or is it a shallow, fleeting affection that is dependent on your circumstances? Are you willing to step into the fullness of God's calling, even when it requires sacrifice and surrender? Jesus is not asking for perfection. He is asking for authenticity. He is asking for a love that is willing to follow, even in uncertainty, even in hardship. This is the love that Jesus calls us to, a love that is sacrificial, unconditional, and rooted in a deep, personal relationship with Him. This love transforms us. It shapes the way we live, the way we love others, and the way we walk with God. So take this moment to reflect on your love for Jesus. Is it real? Is it sincere? Is it demonstrated through your actions, your obedience, and your willingness to follow Him, even when it's hard? This is the love Jesus is asking for, a love that transcends feelings, transcends circumstances, and is rooted in the truth of who He is. Reflect on your love for Him, and allow this moment to deepen your devotion and commitment to walking with Him in every area of your life. Jesus' question, "Do you truly love me?" is not just an inquiry, it is an invitation. It is a call to deeper intimacy, to authentic devotion, and to surrender. It calls us to examine the depth of our love for Jesus and challenges us to go beyond surface-level acts of faith. This question is not a condemnation. It is a divine invitation to a deeper, more intimate relationship with the one who gave His life for us. Jesus does not seek perfection. He seeks authenticity. He wants a love that is demonstrated through our actions, our obedience, and our trust in Him. His question invites us to move beyond the routines and rituals of religion and step into a personal, life-changing relationship with Him. It is a call to love Him for who He is, not just for what He can do for us. This is the divine test of love, a test that calls us to examine the authenticity of our devotion, the sincerity of our hearts, and our willingness to surrender fully to God's will. As you reflect on Jesus' question, "Do you truly love me?" take a moment to respond with a heart that is fully committed, fully surrendered, and fully devoted to following Him. In answering this question, you step into the fullness of God's purpose for your life, and in doing so, you will experience a love that transforms everything you do, everything you are, and everything you will become. As we stand in the sacred pause created by Jesus' question, "Do you truly love me?" we are not merely called to ponder the meaning of the question, we are invited to respond. This question is not a simple reflection or a rhetorical inquiry. It is a moment of divine invitation, an invitation to make a life-altering decision. Jesus is asking you to step forward, to give a wholehearted yes to His call. The invitation to respond to Jesus' question with a yes is more than just a verbal agreement. It is an act of surrender. To say yes to Jesus is to acknowledge the work He has already begun in your life and express your willingness to follow Him no matter where He leads. It is a declaration that your heart is ready to fully engage with the divine plan He has for you. It is a commitment to move forward in alignment with God's will, no matter the obstacles, the uncertainty, or the challenges ahead. The invitation to respond is sacred because it comes from the heart of God. It is a call to intimacy, a call to walk closely with Jesus, and a call to embrace the purpose that has been laid before you. But it's not just about answering Jesus in the moment, it's about how that answer transforms your life and the trajectory of your walk with Him. A yes to God is not just about words, it's about action, obedience, and a willingness to trust that God's plan is better than anything you could have planned for yourself. To respond to Jesus' call is to acknowledge that He has been at work in your life, shaping you, preparing you, and aligning you for this divine moment. It is to step into your true identity as a child of God, fully committed to following Him, no matter where He takes you. This is not a simple or easy decision, but it is the most important decision you can make, as it sets the course for the rest of your life. It is a decision that echoes into eternity. Saying yes to Jesus is a decision to fully surrender to His will and align yourself with His purpose. The act of saying yes to Jesus is not just an emotional response, it is a powerful declaration of faith. When you say yes to Jesus, you are stepping into a divine alignment that will shape the course of your life. But how do you make that yes known? How do you make your decision real, not just in the moment, but in the way you live and walk out your calling? One profound way to affirm this decision is by typing 777. The number 777 is significant in the Bible and in Christian symbolism. The number 7 represents perfection, completion, and divine alignment. In biblical terms, 7 is often associated with divine completion and spiritual wholeness. Typing 777 is not just an outward action, it is a spiritual declaration. It symbolizes the alignment of your heart with God's will, your full agreement with His plan, and your readiness to walk in the divine purpose He has for your life. When you type 777, you are making a statement of faith. You are saying, I am ready. I trust in God's perfect timing. I align myself with His plan, and I am walking in His purpose for my life. This act becomes a spiritual declaration of your willingness to step forward into divine alignment. It is a commitment to walk with boldness and confidence, knowing that heaven is backing you and that you are walking in alignment with the will of God. The act of typing 777 is more than just a symbolic gesture. It is an outward sign of your commitment to step into the fullness of God's purpose for your life. It's a moment where your decision to follow Jesus becomes real, tangible, and visible, not just in your heart, but in the way you declare it through this act of faith. Typing 777 signifies your complete trust in God's plan and a willingness to embrace the path He has laid before you. This simple act serves as a physical reminder of your spiritual commitment. It is a way to declare to yourself, to heaven, and to the world that you are choosing to walk in alignment with God's divine purpose. Your yes is not just a fleeting moment of emotion, it is a decision that will shape the rest of your life. To walk in faith means to step into the unknown with the assurance that God is leading you. It means stepping forward in boldness, even when the way ahead is unclear, knowing that God has equipped you for everything you need along the journey. When you say yes to Jesus, you are saying yes to walking in divine alignment with His will. It is a declaration that you trust God's timing, even when the path seems uncertain, and that you are ready to walk the path He has prepared for you, even when you cannot see every step along the way. Faith is not about having all the answers. It is about trusting in the one who holds all the answers. It is about choosing to move forward, even when the road is not straight, even when obstacles arise, and even when things don't go according to plan. Walking in faith means having the courage to trust God even when life doesn't make sense. It means trusting that His plan is better than anything you could have imagined for yourself. When Jesus asks you to follow Him, He is not asking you to have everything figured out. He is asking you to trust Him, to take that first step, and to keep walking with faith. He is calling you to step out of your comfort zone and into the divine calling He has for you. The journey may not always be easy, but you are not walking alone. God is with you, guiding you, equipping you, and empowering you every step of the way. Walking in faith also means walking with confidence. Confidence not in your own abilities, but in God's power working through you. When you step into your divine calling, you do not do so in your own strength. You do so with the assurance that God is leading you, that His Holy Spirit is empowering you, and that you are walking in alignment with His perfect plan for your life. You walk forward, knowing that heaven's favor is upon you, and that God is with you, guiding every step. Faith requires action. It requires stepping out in trust, even when the future is uncertain. But walking in faith also requires patience. There will be moments when the path seems long, and the journey feels tiring, but trust that God's timing is perfect. Trust that everything you have gone through, the waiting, the preparation, the delays, is all part of His divine plan to position you for this moment. You may not understand everything along the way, but you can trust that God does. And because you trust Him, you can walk forward in confidence, knowing that He will lead you to the fulfillment of His purpose. God has equipped you for everything ahead. You have everything you need to walk in the fullness of His plan. Walking in faith means trusting that He has already gone before you and that He is making the way clear. Your yes is the first step, and now it's time to walk boldly into the future that God has set before you. Every moment of doubt, every obstacle, every delay has led you to this moment. The time has come for you to walk in divine alignment, knowing that God is in control. Now, as you step forward, I want you to do so with confidence. This is not the time to shrink back in fear or hesitation. This is the time to step into your purpose with boldness. You have said yes to Jesus, and now it is time to move forward with the full knowledge that God has equipped you for everything ahead. The divine alignment is already in place, and you are walking in His purpose. This journey will not always be easy, but it will always be worth it. There will be challenges along the way, but with God leading you, you are prepared for everything that comes your way. The power of saying yes is that it unlocks the fullness of God's purpose for your life. It shifts you from passive waiting to active walking in divine purpose. Every step you take is a step in alignment with God's will, and every moment you walk in faith, you draw closer to the fulfillment of His promises. You are walking in the footsteps of Jesus, and with each step, you become more like Him. Trust in the process, trust in God's timing, and trust that the path ahead is the one He has designed for you. The road ahead may be uncertain at times, but you can be certain of one thing: God is with you every step of the way. This moment marks the beginning of something powerful. Your yes to Jesus has set in motion a new season in your life. The path is not always clear, but with faith, trust, and obedience, you will walk in divine alignment with God's purpose. Typing 777 was a declaration of your commitment to follow Him, to trust His timing, and to embrace the divine calling on your life. Now is the time to walk boldly, knowing that heaven is with you. Trust in God's plan, trust in His timing, and trust that, with every step you take, you are walking in divine purpose. Your yes has set you on a path of transformation, and God is leading you into the fullness of your calling. The next chapter is here, and it's time for you to step forward in faith and confidence, knowing that you are walking in divine alignment with God's will. The wilderness, so often depicted as a place of solitude, desolation, and difficulty, has long been a place of divine preparation for those chosen to fulfill God's greater purpose. It's the environment where God strips away distractions, where He refines the heart, and where He sets the foundation for something far greater. If you have walked through your own wilderness, you know the feeling of being lost in a season of uncertainty, hardship, and struggle. The times when the weight of the world seems to bear down on your soul, and the path ahead appears dim or even non-existent. Yet, as you emerge from the wilderness, it is important to realize that it was not in vain. Every trial, every setback, every painful moment has been part of God's divine plan to prepare you for what lies ahead. The struggles, delays, and hardships you have endured have not been random. They have been God's divine preparation process. The wilderness is not a punishment. It is a place of transformation. It is where God refines your character, strengthens your faith, and prepares you to carry out the purpose He has for your life. When you emerge from this season, you do so stronger, more empowered, and with a deeper understanding of God's grace. As you reflect on this journey, you can now see that the delays were not denials. The pain was not wasted. Everything you have experienced has shaped you into the person God is calling you to be. You are not the same as you were when you first entered the wilderness. You have been molded, tested, and refined. And now, you are stepping into your divine calling with the strength that comes from having endured the process. Emerging from the wilderness is a declaration that you have persevered. You have not given up. You have remained faithful even when the journey was hard and the destination unclear. God has been with you every step of the way. And now, as you step into the light of His divine purpose, you can walk forward with confidence, knowing that you have been prepared for what is to come. Your divine calling is no longer a distant dream, it is now a reality. Everything you have gone through has positioned you for this moment. The struggles have sharpened your purpose, the delays have perfected your timing, and the hardships have strengthened your resolve. You are now ready to step into the fullness of God's plan for your life, knowing that you are equipped with everything you need to fulfill it. The wilderness is often a solitary place, but emerging from it does not mean that you must walk alone. As God has worked in your life to bring you into alignment with His purpose, He is now working to bring others into your journey. The remnant, those who have been chosen and prepared by God, is being gathered. You are not alone in this divine purpose. Heaven is aligning you with others who are called to the same mission, those who share your heart, your passion, and your commitment to fulfilling God's will. The remnant is a powerful, collective force, each person bringing their own unique gifts, talents, and experiences to the table. The strength of the remnant lies not in the individual, but in the unity of purpose. Heaven is bringing together those who have been tested and refined, those who have endured the wilderness and emerged stronger. Together, the remnant will walk in unity, fulfilling God's will on earth and bringing His light to the world. You are part of this divine gathering. Heaven is aligning your life with others who have been called to the same mission. This is not a group of random individuals, it is a carefully orchestrated collective, each person placed where they are meant to be. You have been positioned for this moment, not by chance, but by divine design. You are being called to walk alongside others who share your vision, your heart for the kingdom, and your desire to fulfill God's purpose. The remnant is being gathered not just to exist, but to make an impact. You are part of something far bigger than yourself. God is raising up a generation of believers who will stand together in unity, bringing healing, hope, and transformation to the world. As you walk in unity with the remnant, you will be empowered to fulfill the calling God has placed on your life. Together, you will carry the light of God's love to every corner of the earth. There is incredible strength in unity. The strength of the remnant lies in its collective commitment to God's will. Each individual within the remnant brings their unique gifts, experiences, and abilities, but it is when these are united in a common purpose that the true power of the remnant is revealed. God has designed the remnant to work together, each part playing a vital role in the fulfillment of His greater plan. When the remnant unites in purpose, there is nothing that can stand in their way. The collective strength of the remnant is greater than the sum of its parts. Together, you will bring healing to the sick, hope to the hopeless, and restoration to the broken. The remnant is not simply a group of believers, it is a force for good in the world, a body of believers united in their commitment to fulfill God's will on earth. This is the power of collective purpose. The remnant is not simply a passive group of individuals, it is an active, powerful force that is called to make a difference in the world. As you join with others in this divine purpose, you will experience the power of unity. Together, the remnant will bring light to the darkness, transformation to the brokenness, and healing to the wounds of the world. The world is in need of the light and love that only the remnant can bring. God has placed you in this season to fulfill His plan for global restoration. And He is not doing it alone, He is gathering you with others who are equally committed to fulfilling His will. Together, you will be a beacon of hope, shining in a world that is desperate for the light of God's love. The power of the remnant lies in its unity. When you walk in unity with others who share your commitment to God's will, you will see God's power move in ways that you cannot yet comprehend. The remnant is a force that will transform the world, and you are a vital part of that force. As you stand united with the remnant, you will witness the healing, restoration, and transformation that God is bringing to the world. The role of the remnant is to bring God's kingdom to earth. You are called to be the hands and feet of Jesus, to carry His message of love and redemption to the world. The remnant is not just a group of believers gathering for their own benefit, it is a collective of people who are committed to bringing the message of hope, healing, and transformation to a world in desperate need. The remnant is called to stand for justice, to care for the oppressed, to feed the hungry, and to heal the brokenhearted. You are called to be a reflection of God's love in every area of your life. Whether you are called to serve in ministry, in your community, or in the marketplace, you are part of the remnant, and your calling is essential to fulfilling God's will. Each member of the remnant has a unique role to play in fulfilling God's plan. Some are called to serve in visible, public ways, while others are called to serve behind the scenes. But every role is vital. Each person in the remnant brings their unique gifts, skills, and experiences to the table, and together, the remnant will bring God's kingdom to earth. The remnant is not just about what happens in church or ministry settings, it is about bringing God's light and love to every corner of society. The remnant is called to transform every sphere of influence, education, business, government, the arts, and more. As part of the remnant, you are called to bring God's truth, His love, and His healing into the world, in whatever way He leads you. The strength of the remnant lies in its commitment to walk in unity and fulfill God's will. Together, you will bring transformation to the world, one step at a time. Together, you will fulfill God's plan for global restoration, and as you walk together in unity, you will see God's power move in ways that will leave a lasting impact on the world. You are not walking alone. As you step into the fullness of your divine calling, you are walking in unity with the remnant, those who have been chosen by God to fulfill His purpose on earth. The wilderness has been a time of preparation, but now you are emerging stronger, wiser, and ready to step into the role that God has prepared for you. Heaven is aligning you with others who are equally committed to fulfilling God's plan, and together, you will bring healing, hope, and transformation to the world. The remnant is being gathered, not just to exist, but to fulfill God's will on earth. You are a vital part of this divine movement, and together, you will see the kingdom of God come to earth in powerful and transformative ways. As you step forward in faith, know that you are not walking alone. You are walking in unity with the remnant, with others who are called to fulfill God's will and to bring His light to the world. The time is now. The gathering of the remnant is taking place, and you are being called to take your place in this divine movement. Step forward in faith, knowing that you are part of something far greater than yourself, a global movement that is bringing healing, restoration, and transformation to the world. The remnant will fulfill God's plan, and you are a crucial part of that fulfillment. God is aligning you with others for a greater purpose. Embrace this divine calling, knowing that you are part of the remnant that will carry the light of God's love into the world. Step into your divine calling with confidence, knowing that God has equipped you for everything ahead. Together, the remnant will transform the world, and you are a vital part of that transformation. Walk boldly in your purpose, knowing that you are not alone, and together, we will fulfill God's will for global restoration. As you stand at the threshold of this new chapter, I want to encourage you to take a moment to reflect on the divine calling that has been placed on your life. This is not just another chapter, another season. It is the beginning of the fulfillment of God's perfect plan. Every moment, every struggle, every prayer, every test has brought you to this pivotal point. You are not here by chance, but because heaven has strategically positioned you for this moment of divine alignment. Take a deep breath and recognize that this is your moment, your divine moment, to step confidently into the fullness of your purpose. Heaven's timing is perfect. Everything you have gone through, the delays, the waiting, the unanswered questions has led you to this moment when you can walk forward with boldness and confidence, knowing that you are fully aligned with God's will. The work that God has been doing in the unseen, preparing you for this moment, is now coming to fruition. The battle you've fought, the prayers you've prayed, the steps you've taken in faith, these are the building blocks that have led you here, to the moment when you are finally ready to step into the fullness of your divine purpose. You have not been overlooked. You have not been forgotten. Every season of difficulty, every moment of silence, and every instance of challenge has been part of the greater plan God has been working out in your life. Now is the time to embrace the future with faith. It is time to embrace the calling God has placed on your life and walk forward with the certainty that His perfect timing is at hand. This is your time, your moment. This is where the rest of your life begins to take shape in a way that aligns with God's purpose for you. In this divine moment, you are invited to take a decisive step forward. Jesus is asking you, do you truly love me? Your response is not just in words, but in your willingness to say yes to His call and to step into the fullness of the divine purpose He has set before you. If you are ready to walk in alignment with God's will, to fully embrace His plan for your life, and to walk in the favor and purpose He has prepared for you, I invite you to make that declaration now. I invite you to type 777, a symbolic act of agreement with heaven's plan. This is not just a number. It is a powerful spiritual declaration of your commitment to walk in divine alignment. By typing 777, you are acknowledging that you are fully aligned with God's will and that you are ready to embrace the purpose He has set before you. This simple act is an outward sign of your readiness to move forward in faith, to trust God's timing, and to walk boldly into the future He has planned for you. 777 represents divine perfection and completeness. It is a number of divine alignment, a reminder that you are in perfect synchronization with heaven's purpose for your life. This act of typing 777 is a declaration that you are ready to step into the fullness of your calling, to walk with confidence and boldness, knowing that God is with you and that His timing is perfect. This moment is sacred. By typing 777, you are affirming your willingness to follow Jesus wholeheartedly. You are saying, "Yes, Lord, I agree with your plan. I am ready to step into the purpose you have prepared for me." Let this act of declaration mark the beginning of your journey into divine fulfillment. As you walk in alignment with God's perfect will, the battle is over. The waiting is finished. The struggle has ended. You have fought the good fight, and now you are stepping into the victory that has already been won for you. Heaven's smile is upon you as you begin this new chapter, and you can walk with confidence, knowing that you are walking in the divine purpose God has always planned for you. You are no longer a victim of your circumstances. You are a victor in Christ. The challenges you faced have shaped you, refined you, and prepared you for this moment. The battle was not in vain. The struggles, the moments of uncertainty, and the setbacks were part of God's divine preparation to align you with your destiny. You have emerged stronger, wiser, and more empowered. Now, you are ready to walk boldly in the divine purpose God has placed on your life. As you step into this new chapter, remember that you are not walking alone. Heaven is with you, the angels are surrounding you, and God's favor is upon you. This is not a time to hesitate or shrink back. This is the moment to step forward with faith, knowing that you are walking in divine favor and in perfect alignment with God's will. The victory is yours, and it's time to walk confidently into the fullness of what God has prepared for you. You are walking in divine alignment, and this new chapter will be marked by God's provision, guidance, and protection. Every step you take will be directed by His hand, and every obstacle you face will be overcome with His strength. The path ahead is filled with purpose, opportunity, and fulfillment. God has already gone before you and made a way where there seemed to be no way. Now, it's time for you to walk in that victory and embrace the future He has planned for you. Embrace this new chapter with faith. Embrace it with confidence. You are walking into the divine purpose God has set before you. There is no more waiting, no more wondering if you're on the right path. You are on the path that God has laid out for you, and it is a path of divine fulfillment, purpose, and abundance. Trust that God is with you every step of the way. He has equipped you for everything you will face. You have been prepared for this moment, and now you are ready to walk forward in His strength. The future is bright, and the possibilities are endless. Your calling is not just a destination, it is a journey, one that you are stepping into with boldness, confidence, and divine alignment. As you step into the next chapter of your life, know that God's favor is upon you. You are walking in His perfect timing, and everything you need to fulfill your purpose will be provided. You have been equipped for everything ahead, and you can walk confidently, knowing that God is in control. This is the moment to embrace the future with faith. Don't hold back. Don't second-guess yourself. Step forward boldly, knowing that you are walking in alignment with God's will for your life. The victory is yours, and it's time for you to live it out with confidence and purpose. You are not just moving through life. You are walking into the fullness of your divine purpose, ready to fulfill the calling God has placed on your life. The battle is over. The victory is yours. Heaven's smile is upon you. And now, it's time to walk confidently in the divine purpose God has for you. The next chapter is here, and you are ready to step into it with faith, trust, and the assurance that God's perfect plan is unfolding before you.